and welcome back to the U Up podcast. I'm Jordana Abraham.
And I am Jared Freed. It is so good to be back here with you, Jordana. How are you? How was your Halloween? I'm like, actually, you're like my suburban correspondent.
I don't want to be that.
I know you do. Well, that's why I trust you as a suburban correspondent.
Because I'm not like fully drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm like in between. I'm like, I think of myself as like still in the transition phase.
Yes. You are transitioning into suburban woman. And on your way there, I can get, I can suck the info out of you.
It's funny. It's like a slippery slope. Like one day you just like follow one like interior design account. And the next day you are yelling at people to get off your lawn.
Right. I mean, I've seen that from people I know on social media.
It is kind of a slippery slope.
The metamorphosis. Like you have to really, listen, not to go to Plug City so quickly, but on the special, there's a joke about suburban women Instagram bios versus city women Instagram bios. And like I do yearn for the bubble of suburbia, but I also don't want to lose like reality and like perspective that a city gives you and rubbing elbows with actual people. You know what
it is? It's like sort of like for me at least, it's like the internal struggle of like, do I want to be cool or do I want to be comfy? Like it really because the
heels
suburbs
are snakes.
The suburbs is so uncool,
right?
But it's like lovely. You know what I mean?
I know exactly.
Like, do I want a place to put all of my shit?
Right.
Or do I want to be like a cool person who like does cool shit?
Right. Carrie Bradshaw or Lorelai.
Yeah.
You know, like you're gonna wear heels. You're gonna be in your overcoat with the cozy, sweater, whatever.
Yeah. Like, do I want to be with it and on guard, or do I want to be like just fucking relaxed and not learning anything new?
I guess broadening my horizons. Yeah, it is that. It does feel like that choice sometimes because, there are some people on socials that I follow that have metamorphized or whatever, changed into that person. And you're like, and I watch them like, are you out of your fucking mind?
How did this happen?
How did this happen to you? How do you post things like this? Like, are you really like looking into the camera being like, I just don't know what to do about the line to wait for the pickup line? And you're like, I guess this is a problem. I agree it's a problem.
It's not a problem.
It's not a problem.
Right,
and then you see people here and it's like, we gotta march for everything. And you're like, I don't want that either.
Wait, what is the middle ground between suburbia and like Brooklyn, I guess?
I don't know. I meet those people. They're crazy out of their fucking minds too. I don't know. Like,
I don't know. It's hard to get both the like the perspective of the city, but also the again, like the calmness.
I know, because I visited your home. Your house is unbelievable. I love it. I love the project that is at hand. Like you have a thing to work on. Yeah. Like there's like actual like, I don't know. Tell me about the Halloween party. So you went to like a couple's Halloween party.
Yeah, neighborhood couple's Halloween party, which was like it was really fun. It was like our first, we're like
foray into the social scene.
Yeah, a little bit. You're meeting, but a lot of people, everyone there, I would say, moved there. Like 3 years was like the maximum amount of time that people had moved there, and so it was like.
So some people were more, delusional than others.
Yes,
suburban delusional,
more fit in, but it was. It was fun. It was like it was just like it was a cool way to meet new people. It was interesting to meet new people like when you're in costume. I'm like, is everyone gonna think I'm blonde? I felt personally victimized by your Barbie and Ken.
Listen, I held
costume breakdown. I knew you were judging me while you were waiting to do it behind my back when I told you. I just knew it.
I swear to God, I didn't. It's funny. I was like, but I did say it on the podcast. I can this was kind of why I brought up the Halloween party that you went to. Like, I can kind of like tell a lot about a couple based on this couple's costume.
There was another Barbie and Ken in the exact same outfits as us there too.
Oh, and you wrote a strongly worded Yelp review
about
let them know.
But literally the exact same outfit. But the woman was actually blonde, so she. I guess killed it.
So we fucking hate her.
No, it was really fun. We got 0 trick-or-treaters.
Zero.
Not one. We bought all this candy.
Not surprised.
Me neither.
You are
it's not a house you would
secluded.
go to. Well, yeah.
You need to. You gotta move into king size candy bar land.
I guess
I actually
in
thought about
case we get one. Well, when we were buying it, I was like, I don't think we're gonna get many. Let's buy the candy that we want.
Yeah,
And then
that's the move. Yeah,
and then when no one comes by and eats it, like we will feel like it will go to something.
yeah, I'll go to you.
Right,
Yeah, that's great.
exactly.
Well,
What's your favorite Halloween candy?
Oh, we were just talking. Jorge and I were just having a
Debate.
passionate discussion. As people know, Jorge and I are opposite sides of the spectrum.
Yes, as you
guys
guys
have
all
found
learned
out.
on our last Sunday special.
50% away from me. I want to clear this up. 51. No,
Have you
no,
been
no.
thinking about it
I
since
thought
then?
a lot about
Okay,
it. I
yeah.
think Jorge is misled on his assertion. We answered the same. Here's the difference. We answered the same when it came to what you would do in the scenario. We answered differently when it came to how we would live our lives.
That's true.
You know what I mean? So I think
You're
there's
not better than him, or
better, worse, different. That's okay. No, but I was thinking about it. I was like, how could you think 50 and I could think 5? I think we were thinking of two different things. I think when it came to like, the idea of the love of my life could be met in one date is totally different to me than does the breakfast after fucking matter?
right. And,
Do you know what I mean?
And you guys had the same opinion on the letter.
So
Yeah.
that's why I was like really kind of like working through this whole opinion of mine of like the 50 versus the 5. Do you understand what I'm talking about, Jorge? I don't want to speak at you with mic in hand. Please take the
Yeah.
mic. This could
Now
be seen as unfair.
You're back to the behind the scenes.
Yeah, I understand, Jared.
You know,
I think
when it came to like what is a guy thinking right now,
right.
we were on the same page.
I agree. We just live life very differently, but I think in terms of how we would act, it's maybe not that different. I think it's
both
just how we
gentlemen.
relate to what happens
Right.
to us.
Jorge is a domesticated house cat. I am party boy,
Right.
lover,
Well, Jorge, do you think that like certain,
womanizer.
do you think that certain things from like maybe like the way you were raised or your childhood, your outlook, like or like shaping the way that you think about relationships?
I think so for sure. I grew up in a tiny Caribbean island of Puerto Rico, so
I've been.
You've been.
On vacation.
On vacation
Yeah.
many times. Upwards of 30 times.
I don't know. Is that the same?
I think
Is
the culture is
It's the same thing.
It's the same. But I
You
do
grew up at
think
the Ritz-Carlton? So basically neighbors.
yeah, Jorge in the park.
Yeah.
I think
Parents still together?
parents are divorced.
Divorced.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think that's like a part. I mean, we talk a lot about the
Yeah.
differences between our families. Do you
For
see?
sure.
Do you see maybe? Do you have a kinship with Jordana on that?
yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. I think it does inform how you see relationships when you grow up.
Right.
You don't think it does?
Well, you learn a lot.
I-
know,
you think it does?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think you
yeah.
learn a lot about what you don't want.
Agreed.
I think from that.
Right.
I think
right?
so. I think that's more the
Developer of
most
taste.
Yeah.
I might be tasteless.
Well, I think you could. Yeah, you kind of see the consequences of making like of a decision based on certain
Right.
personality traits.
Right.
Yeah, and I think you're right in it teaches you what not to do more than what to do.
For sure.
Especially I think in my scenario or if you have divorced parents or whatever. And I think it has colored a lot of how I relate to other people.
Right.
Yeah.
And how you would relate to like a dating scenario.
Totally.
Yeah. No, I'm happy we did an addendum. I feel much better now.
Yes, you guys are the same person.
Same
Yeah,
guy.
same guy.
Basically,
Same
yeah.
person, same Ritz-Carlton in San Juan.
Exactly.
Also, I've been to Puerto Rico a lot. It's I don't even know where I'm going. No, I want to get back to the
Well,
Halloween party.
Yeah, the Halloween party was great. I don't have that much else to say about it. I had a
Was
a
there a
lovely
thing where you
time.
see like a couple dressed like didn't try and you're like, Did you judge? I mean, obviously you were
judged.
judging.
I didn't judge it because we had, as you saw and as you commented, we had a very basic costume.
I didn't say it was basic.
I didn't feel it. Oh, you said I was going to go home and write Yelp reviews, which I've never written a Yelp review. I have. I try to publicly take down a corporation. Right. I don't write. I go a step further.
This is your Yelp review.
Yes, this is. I have an outlet for that. But so we were the only costume that another person had the exact same costume. So I didn't feel like I could be super judgmental of anyone's costume.
Well, I don't think having the same costume is like a bad thing.
Right.
But it's exact the same. That's a different story. You know.
I mean, if you Google Barbie and Ken outfit, there's one costume that comes up that if you want to buy, unless you want to make your own, which we're not doing.
No. Yeah. This, what are we talking about here? You got a whole house to redecorate.
Exactly. I've got shit to do. I've got business to run.
I thought you guys looked great.
Thank you.
I thought it was. What do they serve? Are people getting drunk? Like, I guess.
Yeah, they had bartenders. Like
bartenders.
Like they have like this amazing part. They had this amazing party room where like they have a bar in this like room, and there was like smoke. Like and strobe lights and like it was kind of like
secluded areas to go hook up in the corner.
Do you ever
stripper pole?
Do you ever see the what was the movie? It's the movie the Halloween movie everyone's obsessed with. There's like the Virgin Candle. Hocus Pocus.
Oh, Hocus Pocus. Yeah,
and the parents are like at a party.
Yes, and it's like the craziest party of all time.
It felt a little like that.
How many people?
Maybe 50.
Whoa.
Yeah. And it was a nice night on Saturday. It was like a beautiful day, so it was like indoor, outdoor.
The sitters were cleaning up.
Seriously, I'm
out
sure.
in Long Island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was
any fights?
They had people handing out pizza.
Pass around
pizza. It was great.
The listeners don't know this. Jordana sold this company that moved directly to Elysium.
Elysium.
There was a movie. Does anyone know that movie? It was like a Matt Damon movie where like the rich people live above the ground. It was called Elysium, and like the peasants, me and my people, we live down here. Okay. Jordana sold this company.
Maybe next year you can come to the party. You can do
I'll come. I'll have to work it.
Yeah.
I'll be the pass around guy.
Yeah. Well, I'm just kind of, it's funny when you never go to a party that's like really well like done, like they know what they're doing, and then you're like, I can't ever have a party because this is what it's going to be compared to. And like, I can't imagine myself in it. But this is maybe because I'm in transition phase.
Right.
Give me 2 years. When I'm completely lost and out of touch with reality, like I might be able to throw something like that.
It is a fascinating watch for me. I have to
metamorphosis?
Say, the metamorphosis. No. I think it's great. I agree with you. Like, how much do you think they spent on this party?
I don't know.
$10,000?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Give or take. I'm putting you in an uncomfortable position. These are new friends.
It was a great party. We met some new people. There was there's more creative outfits than others. I thought it was a fun intro to the neighborhood.
Your house could be an amazing Halloween house. I have a lot of vision.
I don't think
for your
that's
house.
a compliment.
No. No, it is.
Your house looks like you could do one of those horror movies where someone, kidnaps someone, brings them back, and raises them in mid-century, 18th century.
Turns them into one of the candles on the wall.
Exactly.
No, the grounds could be a fun outdoor haunted thing.
Yeah, well, I have to say, yesterday was actual Halloween, and Mike was in the city late, and I was a little scared.
Spooky.
I was home because I was working from home, and he was in the city, and I was like, "Can you come home?
Right.
Like, it's Halloween, and I can't see another person."
And everyone's in
mass.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
No, worse than that, there's no one on the street. I'm like, that's scarier.
It's scary. You're like kind of expecting the doorbell to ring.
Yeah, so I'm just
even though it's not.
I'm just like home. And houses make noises, so you're like getting a little. I don't know. It was a little scary.
I mean, you have a shed outside that looks like it's from.
I think it is from like 1800 or something. It's an old horse barn that was from way before the house existed.
It does look like a headless horseman's gonna pop out of it with a pumpkin head under his arm.
Well, I'm glad we had this conversation after Halloween.
Yeah, thank goodness.
But how was your Halloween? I saw you were at Comedy Cellar.
I was at the Cellar. I go on stage every Halloween in costume. It is my thing, and it always bombs, and it's hilarious.
What do you mean it bombs? Like,
Because first of all, the cellar is in
it's a fun Halloween activity.
to go to the cellar.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It's people. So there's a parade for everything in New York City. If you don't live in New York City, there's a parade for every background, every country, and then they do a Halloween parade, and it's the dumbest fucking parade. It's just an opportunity to people let their freak flag fly. That's really what it. All right, you live in the neighborhood. It is like a scene, right?
Kind of like Pride?
It's worse than Pride. I don't mean to. Pride gets a reputation for being like a lot.
I think this is
Bigger
Really?
because it's more inclusive because it's like and you have to. There's nothing to celebrate other than
It's more inclusive than Pride. He
That's
said.
great. That's
You guys
right.
Listening?
it is. I'm allowed to be there. I'm there, but I could be a Pride. You know, whatever. You know, cheering people on. But this is like
Right. Everyone can can identify with dressing up for Halloween. Sure.
Absolutely. And it's like, it just lets people be bigger than they would. So people are really like getting more drunk than usual, being more like.
These are adults. I mentioned like a
Adults.
bunch of like children in like like in elementary school. I remember there was like a Halloween parade, and you'd come with your costume. I met kids.
You've already transitioned into suburbia.
When I was a kid.
No, I agree.
It would be like
This is craziness. Like, right? Or
It's complete
like,
insanity. I think it is kids towards the afternoon, like maybe
Yes.
6, 5 p.m.
I saw it at 3:30. There were kids out,
Okay.
and like that at like 6, they're like, get them in because these streets are about to get like weird.
And it was
Got it.
so loud too in my apartment.
Loud,
it
yeah.
was just like loud music all night. It's crazy.
Jorge like lives.
I live
in
on
it.
4th and 6th, so I'm right there. The parade is right on 6th
You
Avenue.
can't cross 6.
Yeah, you literally can't.
Got it.
I got home at like 9 p.m. and it was insanity. It was chaos.
And then you see these floats go by, and you're like, "What do they even represent?" It's just like people just like.
what are the floats?
You don't even know. Like there'll be like a band with like an electric guitar. It's like weird.
I lived in the city for like 10 years. I don't understand how I never knew.
Did you ever live in West Village?
I lived on 16th and 7th. That's not really West.
It would have been
Village, though.
the Village for Pride and Halloween
Right.
Parade. It's like that's the spot for it.
Got it.
I actually said this last night. If I was in my 20s and Halloween like fell on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, what a great trip for like a group of friends post college. Like to do Halloween Parade.
Yeah.
People are kind of like. It's very much like spring break,
Mardi Gras
feel. Yeah. And it's like, you're definitely age out of it. Like I definitely was like, get these people away from me. And I'm a bee.
Yeah.
So and
So judgmental as the queen bee.
Queen bee getting angry at the worker bees. And then and also I'm trying to get to the cellar. I'm trying to get to work.
Right.
So like I'm trying to cross the street.
Who's the angry suburbanite now?
I was.
Get off my stoop.
That was me. Went to the cellar, and it bombs every year because the cellar's right on top of 6th Avenue, like is in the heart of it.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of people who are like, I don't want to be at Halloween. Wow, we escaped.
Okay.
Like we found a thing that we could sit, that we can have a drink. We're away from the madness that's outside. Literally, if you're outside in the West Village on Halloween, you either like love the madness or you're like, get me away from this. So when I get on stage on Halloween, it is literally like I brought the madness to the people who want it the least.
Okay.
Because they're all looking at me like, what's he gonna do? So they think I have this like whole bee set planned out, and I don't.
Right.
So I do like 2 bee puns, which I should just go. I've done it every year. I've done a lion, turkey, chicken, pea pod, bee.
You like just like
Simple.
yeah.
Recognizable, stupid.
Okay.
So and I've done it since I've started comedy because I just think it's so funny to go on stage dressed as a bee and be like, so dating's tough.
That is really funny.
Yeah, like
No, people didn't like it.
No, they're like wondering where's this gonna go?
Right.
There was a scene in The Simpsons where Krusty the Clown becomes like a dark comedian, and
Okay.
I think of that. Like I'm like trying. That's what I want to
Like the
exude.
Joker?
You're really right. Like he's
Okay.
like going on and being like the government, and it's like Krusty.
Right.
So I'm thinking of that. Like that's kind of the joke I want to do. But so I went on stage last night and I was like, be careful out there.
Oh, you did all your
I
bee
know
puns.
bee
Okay,
puns.
yeah.
And then I did have them yell out couples costumes. I was like, I'll tell you how sexual their relationship is.
Okay.
And so I did like a few of the jokes
What
I
is
had
the
already done.
what is the best sex couples costume?
Morticia and Gomez Adams.
I see that.
They were a sexual couple on
Like
that show.
right. It's like it gives like a Megan Fox kind of like you're up for whatever. Drink each other's blood.
That's right. Wear the vial. So it was fun last night, and then it was just like a fun night, and I just like a party, like an opportunity to like go out. Like I like that everyone's out.
Yeah.
And now we kind of slide into the holiday season. It's coming.
I love the holiday. This is the best time in New York.
I agree. There's nothing like New York from, I would say, 2 weeks before Halloween. The minute football season starts until Christmas Day is pretty.
Even New Year's.
Until
Until New Year's Day. After New Year's Day, it's all downhill.
It's the most depressing
yes, and you gotta
place
get out of
in the
here.
country. You have to leave.
Yes.
Yeah, January 1st, you're like, I'm fat, I'm hungover,
And work
and it's cold.
It's time to get back to work.
Right, I gotta
too.
do
It's
shit.
like all the shit that you pushed from mid-December into the
Right.
next year.
Let's
It's like,
connect
it's
after
here.
the holidays.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then you have to fucking connect. So yeah, I agree. This is the best time. Let's all soak it up, right?
Absolutely.
Have a good
Well,
time.
listen, I've been hearing a lot from like the people have turned on my football dating thing.
What do you mean?
I've gotten a lot of nice messages about like
yeah,
going
yeah.
out for football and being out. I think like it's happening for people.
I agree. Yeah, I think that like to me, that's the move. I've been on so many dates with people that I had met in like that bar football situation. I think it's
just like there's
just a fun time,
and the pressure's off.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, what's your name?
it's
Nice
just more
to meet
fun
you.
to day drink than it is.
I think I'm with you. This is a day drinking podcast.
Yeah.
What do we? You listen. Baby steps, huge success. People love it.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to thank everyone who's DM'd me. I tried to respond to most of them. If I didn't get to you, I'm going to try to do that. This was, people sent me such nice messages. It really
I knew that was going to happen.
It felt really, really good. People who felt seen, who felt, less lonely. That's always what we're trying to do. And it's been really rewarding doing this show. Especially because a lot of the times when I was doing it, I didn't really want to do it.
Right.
Because I didn't feel like in the headspace to do it. But I was kind of like, I think it's important. I've also already committed to doing it. And I went through it. And now I'm kind of like, I'm so glad that I did it.
I think you're hitting on something. Like, just like this is a community that's not spoken to.
Mm-hmm.
People are awkward about it, weird. I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
How do you... And you're going through it.
Totally.
So that's going to be the hardest part too. That I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Like to, talk about it while going through it. Like, I mean, I'm dealing with that in a whole different way with this podcast. Like, it's way lighter.
Yeah,
but
yeah, it's tougher. It's like easier to talk about anything when you're like solved the issue,
right?
Because you can have that sense of like I know what I'm talking about for sure. But like this is really about like hearing people's stories. And I got like, it's nice. I've gotten messages from people who are single, who are like not even in that phase now, or people who have a friend who's going through it and they feel like they can understand what's going on with them.
It's total
More,
curiosity.
which is nice.
I totally understand that. I think if there's people out there, if you're thinking about fertility, I think in any way, like how many people freezing your eggs is like now like an open talk.
Totally. And I had I don't think it's out yet, but I had Amanda Freeman, who's the founder of SLT. She had a baby at 38 on her own. And she talks about the story, and she talks about, being single in her 30s and kind of like mourning like a life that she thought she would have at a certain point and having this baby. I just thought it was such an interesting conversation. We might post it actually on the U Up feed just because it's like the most U Up related.
Right.
But such inspiring, really great stories. People just creating the lives that they want.
So she had a kid. Did she go through like the book of donors? Like, how do you choose the cum?
She goes through all the. It's funny because I think we've interviewed a few different people about who've either used like egg donors or sperm donors, and the only thing they all have in common is that they all wanted someone hot.
Jorge and I are gonna put our cum down. I'm gonna see whose profile.
It doesn't matter. It didn't matter who they were or what what the struggle was. They all, and I think it's great they admit it because some people maybe feel a little weird about admitting that, but everyone was like, I don't have to date this person. I'm not gonna be with. I want my kid to have the hottest jeans that I can find.
Listen, listen. It's all follow the money. People. It is funny. Like
What a gift, right? To not have to, because sometimes hot people are really annoying. So you get to.
I just think you don't have to talk to a hot person. You can just have hot kid. No, it just shows you when, there's so much talk of like what's right, what's wrong. Sometimes there's just is, and it's like this idea of like, you hear about hot privilege. You go, and it's like, well, who cares? And then you go, well, I'm going to have a hot kid. I want to make sure they have an easier life.
Right. You see, like when push comes to shove, like what the decisions you make there are. But I'm really proud of the show. Check it out. It comes out every Friday. There's at this point, I think 3 episodes out. Let me know what you think. DM me. What do you have going on? Where are we headed?
I'm all over this great country.
Almost your favorite holiday.
It's coming up.
I'm excited for you.
The most selfish day of the year, Thanksgiving. I love it.
You going to Boca?
I'm going to Boca. I'm actually doing shows. When does this come out? What day is it today?
It comes out the 8th or the 7th if you're a subscriber.
Okay, so I'm in Toledo, Ohio, which everyone's dream.
Yes.
Is to do one night in Toledo. I'll be in Toledo, and then I think I'm doing a Jewish show in Cincinnati.
Jewish show?
Yeah.
Only...
We get together, us Jews.
Okay. Is it like, what do you mean?
I think it's like for young Jews or Jews of all ages. I don't know.
Okay.
In Cincinnati. I don't... Sometimes they just go.
They just
be
book
there,
you, and
I say, okay, what am I performing for?
Just be there with your circumcised. This is gonna be
We're checking at the door. So we're gonna be. That's the name of the show. Circumcised penis. Night of laughs. Toledo circumcision night, and then I'm in Dania Beach. I think they just built a town recently.
Okay.
It's between Fort Lauderdale and Boca. So if you're going to Florida during Thanksgiving, this is where I'm going to do a weekend, Thanksgiving weekend. Great. So that's like a fun, if you like, listen, bring your family. I'll talk to them for an hour, so you don't have to. That's kind of like the deal.
That's not because a lot of people go home for Thanksgiving and they don't want to be still too much time. Sometimes these holidays.
Sometimes all the time.
Right. Well, these holidays where it's like you can't just go to dinner and then go home.
Right.
You're like with someone in their house. So this is a great
brutal.
It's gonna be a great show, and it's the perfect. I mean, I've seen it. It's the perfect show to see with your parents. My uncle lives in Boca. I was just talking to him, and I was like, he loved your special, and I was
really?
I was like, you got to go.
Especially this is like the heart of all these stories. Like is like this area. So if I just did Dania Beach because it's kind of Fort Lauderdale. It's Southeast Florida, so that's kind of me coming to the area if you want to come to a show. Portland, Oregon, Phoenix, Albany, San Diego, Madison, Wisconsin, which is like considered one of the best clubs in the country.
Yeah.
Weirdly.
I like Madison. I've been there.
And now I'm doing a big New York show. Tickets are selling.
I'm
it's
sure
almost
that's
done.
going to sell out very quickly.
I think people need to get on their horse.
So it's too late for me to ask for 45 tickets.
You might have some trouble. I can get you 52. I can get you 10. I'm looking at the map now. As we love looking at a ticket map.
We do. We like to say our entire self-esteem rests on it. A ticket map.
So listen, New York. Boston added a second show. Toronto added a second show. Chicago second show. Minneapolis, Royal Oak, Denver, San Francisco. I'm all over the place. JaredFreed.com for tickets. Get them now. That makes if you're gonna come, just get them now, please.
Yeah.
I'm begging.
Just get them now. Yeah. Make Jared go into them, relax, knowing they're all sold out. And again, I've seen the show. I've taken all of my friends to see the show. Everyone loves it. There was not a single person who wasn't laughing the entire time.
Thank you. Lots of compliments all around. It's all very nice. So let's get into let's jump right in.
Okay. Okay, I will read the first email. J&J, longtime listener. This is one of my favorite dating podcasts. Thank you for being a great listen. I have a question and that I don't think has been covered before. I'm a 32-year-old female dating a 33-year-old male for around 8 months. Things got serious fast and have been going really well. We've met each other's family, said I love you, and have been stable with no big problems. I feel things have stalled a bit lately, and I wonder if the honeymoon phase has ended. How do you know if you are long-term compatible if things are just fine? What sort of milestones do you think you need before engagement? Thank you always for your insight. A fine girl. Fine.
A fine
Things
lass.
are fine.
What do you? So I read this email,
Right.
and you know what my immediate reaction to this email was? How the fuck would I know? Like, I literally looked at this. I was like, I have no. This is my problem. Like,
Right.
I get to this point of like getting to know each other. I'm like, you do your thing, I'll do my thing. Like, I have to say, I came here more with questions for you.
Right. I think it's interesting. I mean, it's an interesting question. I don't think it has like a super straightforward answer, but it reminds me a little bit of the conversation that we had with Jorge last Sunday, and just in general about like the way you see relationships. Because I think that there's kind of a way to look at relationships where it's like, there's a way of like, is there anything wrong here? Versus like, focusing on the good stuff.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, are you looking for like what's missing, or are you looking for like the things that are going really well?
This person seems to be like, nothing's wrong, so what's going to go wrong?
Like,
Do you know what I mean? Like, and I kind of understand their perspective.
I understand where it's like, is this it?
Is this it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the takeaway, because I think I sit there and you go, is this what we're all trying for? Sitting around and with another person breathing next to you?
Right.
Is that it? And that is it. But I'm like, man, what is there excitement? I guess the excitement is the next step.
Right.
They say they're going to move in, so that's part of the excitement. But like, then you're like, do I even want to move in with this person?
I think that's the question to ask yourself. It's like, when you envision the next step, how do you feel? Do you feel like I'm really excited to do the next step, or do you feel like it makes me want to throw up thinking about it?
I know that feeling. I understand that completely. Like,
Right.
And we talk about, like, for my relationships, you always say to me, you're like, you would never be excited jumping through the threshold with a woman in your arms, and we did it, and marriage is the best.
But then you always hear that urban dating myth. Sometimes I say that to you, but I also sometimes you feel like you meet the guy, and there's like, again, you're like not even sure if this is true, or your friend knows someone who like, always felt that way, and then they met the person and then they didn't feel that way. But it's like, is this like a legend?
What do you go back to that? I what do you mean?
Like, I feel like we all know people who are kind of maybe a little bit more like you, who are like, yeah, like they date a lot of people, and sometimes they feel like, a little take it or leave it, or they're, they never seem like so excited and like obsessive, or they're not the ones moving the relationship forward.
Right.
Like
and
someone
then
else
one
is
day
moving.
they meet someone
Right.
and they go, I'm running towards it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, and that's, I think, the confusing thing for a woman, because you hear those stories, but then you're like, is that true? Or was it like the timing for this person who was
Right.
like, I just like fully got in, and they're pretending it's about like this person being so different, but really is it about them just being in that headspace?
Right. Like, how much better, it becomes personal at that point,
Right.
I would assume. Like, you go, well, what did they do that I didn't do? But
Right.
also you go, timing is a big part of this. Like,
Well, that's the thing. It's like, is this person such a better match for you than the other person? Or is it kind of, and again, this mostly applies to like men who seem like they don't fully want to like commit. And when I say commit, that doesn't necessarily mean relationship. It could mean like getting engaged. You see a lot of women
Right.
struggle with their dating men. The men are unsure about getting engaged.
well, I mean, I'm more on the other side of that. Like, I'm more like the women going, well, how, like, sometimes I'm in something, I'm like, this is good, but like, is this what it is? Like,
Well,
should I be more excited? Am I not seeing it? Am I watching the wrong movie?
Right.
Like,
Well, the problem with dating is that we like to make these rules, right? Where it's like, well, or like
Right.
sometimes you hear about people who like, you have someone who's knows someone who had an arranged marriage, and they're like, I wasn't even into it at first, and then like the more I knew them, the more I fell in love. So you're like, well, is it kind of like that you could be with anyone? And
right. Did you force yourself into
right,
this?
and that could work, and like you should just kind of accept everyone? Or is it like, oh, don't accept anyone, and when you know, you'll know. So I feel like there's all this advice to give you like some sort of rule about how you should feel, and I think it's just like anything else, like it's highly individual.
Right.
Like it depends on you and kind of how you work individually. It's like saying there's one diet for every single person. It's like no, different people's bodies work in different ways. So like the best diet is the one that's tailored to you and your lifestyle.
And the things that trigger you.
All right, and the way that you think about stuff. So it's like I think it's hard to give a full answer. I think a good question to ask. I think it's good to just ask yourself questions. How would I feel if this person broke up with me tomorrow? How do I feel about the idea of moving in with them? Is that exciting? Is that something that like I'm dreading? Also, historically, how do I act in these situations? Like, am I someone who tends to get, to always be looking for the next best thing? Am I, we had Logan Ury on here a couple of times and she's like, am I someone who there's people who are like maximizers who just never feel like whatever they have is good enough. Or there's people who like are generally happy and positive. So I don't think there's like, there's one rule how everyone should be in these situations. I think it's more about knowing yourself and knowing like the way that you operate, and also not just accepting the way you operate, but like how is the way you operate serving you or not serving you, and using that to look into this also.
It seems like this person is asking like, is this just fine, or is this just could I be fine with anyone like this?
Right.
Like, is this special or not is what it seems like they're asking.
Yeah.
Do you have, and this is a question I thought for you about this email. Do you have memories with Mike that like certain things you've done together that like are highlight memories for you where you felt you got to know each other more? Because I think like that's kind of on the answer for this person is like I was like, I don't know what the fuck to say to this person. I was like,
we're 8 months in, I guess, right?
8 months in, you're like, well, looking back, like they're like, well, we got nothing on the calendar right now. Like if you think like 8 months in is like a weird point.
Yeah.
Because it's like we don't have a move-in scheduled. We move kind of quick, but I don't think they moved quick. It seems kind of normal.
Yeah.
Do you look back and you're like, here are the 5 memories in the beginning that I'm so happy we did because we got to know each other better in those things, and maybe they can replicate those. Maybe they can say, we'll do this, this, and that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if there's like, there's 5 things that like you need to do to figure out who someone is or what. Because sometimes it's just also about like the way that you get excited about stuff. That's kind of what she's talking about is like, is like you said, is this it? Or is it like, could I be more excited? Should I be more excited? Is it more excited? But I think there's certain activities that kind of let you know like how you vibe together. I think one of those things we went on a road trip in Iceland like a year into dating, and I feel like there was something about that trip where it was like it wasn't like the easiest, chillest trip. Like we weren't just sitting on a beach. We were like, it was kind of adventurous, but also things go wrong. Like it was raining a lot one day. It's kind of like you get to see how someone acts when like things are like a little stressful or just like how someone is to be with one person for a while. And I really just liked that I didn't feel stressed. I felt like there was like a calm, relaxing vibe, even though there was this other stuff. And I was tending to get towards like, oh, it's raining. Like it's not like ideal. And the other person, and he was just a little more calm and collected.
So, I mean, for this person, like a trip, planning a trip together.
Yeah. Or I think just also
poking a hole in the tire, seeing how
he reacts.
Well, you got to do shit.
Yeah.
Like I think this is like there's inertia here.
Well, it's like and the question isn't like is this person good or bad? It's like how does this person kind of like balance me, or is it what I'm looking for?
Right. It's like Legends of the Hidden Temple. Are you a good team to go through this, obstacle course together? You got to start. I think this person needs some events.
Yeah.
To like go through together and like, not to say like you're testing the relationship. I don't think you have to do trust falls, but at the same time, like a trip to Iceland is taking a chance with the relationship a year in.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't look at it that way, but you were excited to go to Iceland.
Yeah. But if you find out if you're like a little less compatible,
right?
Like, oh, we're both stressing each other out, or I think you also have to think about like what you prioritize, kind of like the list. You know,
Right.
like, does this person have the things that you want? And what is the way that, how do you usually feel when something gets pretty comfortable? Like, how does that play into this too? There's so many different layers to it to be like, you know, are just fine. Like, just fine means just fine 8 months in to me is giving me a little bit of a hint that you're not
excited
that excited about it. Just fine. I mean, it'd be one thing to say like, we're really enjoying each other's company. We're still like getting to know each other, but
Right.
just fine isn't that inspiring.
I'm the king
to
of
me.
just fine. That's.
Right.
I mean, I feel this person. I'm like.
But have
well,
you ever
know,
felt it's been more than just fine?
I have. I get spikes of it,
Right.
but then I come back to just fine. I'm like.
Well, that's the thing.
Life is so much easier just on my own. You know, like you go, like what do I gotta do? Like,
But that's funny,
why I
though.
gotta stress about someone else?
That's funny though. The spikes of it thing is true though, because that's I think most relationships are kind of like good, like most of
Right.
the time, and then sometimes you're like, oh, this is amazing. Like I'm so glad I'm with this person, and sometimes you're like, I'm with this person and they're so annoying. Like
Right.
in this instance where they're like, you know what I mean? Like I could have been with someone who didn't act like this in this scenario. And I think that everyone
You need everything.
Yeah, it's like you're gonna. But there's other times when I'm like, oh, I'm so lucky to have this person who like brings this stability. Like to be with someone who brought me anxiety in this situation would have been so bad.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
It could have been horrific with this other person.
yeah.
You know.
So I don't think there's anyone where you're like all the time things are like you said the spikes like this that almost is like kind of like toxic. If it's like, if it's
Right.
like too spiky and then too the other way.
You need a healthy blend of it all.
Right. Well, that's kind of like the trade-off of a relationship is that like it's not as exciting as being single.
Right. Well, I think it can be exciting. I think you have to be like ready for that excitement too. Like I think
Yeah.
like a big thing like personally, like when I think of like what the next step entails, I always get even at 38, and this sounds so bad, but I'm like, is my life even set up to do those next things?
And when you say the next things, you mean like
Like
moving to the suburbs with me.
being your neighbor. No, I guess you go, for this person where it's like just fine. I think sometimes 8 months in just fine, you go, well, we go out for dinner once a week and we have a sleepover and we get drunk together. And like I think there's an element of like, well, we do that thing together.
Right.
But to progress it and to get excited, you have to like, we got to plan the next thing that's a little bit of a chance. The
Right.
trip to
Yeah.
Iceland.
But also like how does the idea of going somewhere with that person feel to you?
Right. Is it just fine? Or are you excited? Or
Right.
are you like scared at the idea of a next step? What this means,
Yeah. And I think a lot of that is again about knowing yourself. Like how much of this is this other person versus how much of this is like my shit.
Right.
So it's
It's
a hard
tough.
question to answer. I don't know if we fully answered it, but I think like
Time to
there'd
go to
be no
Iceland.
way to fully answer that without what'd you say?
I said time to go to Iceland.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
like-
Go to Iceland. You'll
Right.
know at the end
Yes.
if you want to be with this person forever.
right. No, but I think what you're saying, it's hard to answer this question.
It's hard to answer this question. It's also just kind of like I don't want to answer that from a place of like
judgment of
From-
like
from
the
judgment.
rules.
right or exactly like rules. It's kind of like things can be really good and then they can be really bad. Like I don't want to like I think there's no person who's like so all knowing that they're like there's one I'm up 100% sure that this thing is
Right.
Right.
I mean, if you knew that, then
no one would ever break up or get
Right.
divorced. Doesn't mean that like you can't take the next step. It's a matter of like, and I think that's the thing with relationships that's so scary is it feels like, oh, if I get into a relationship, then like it has to be forever or this thing where it's kind of like, again, if the more you get to know someone, you can always change your mind.
right.
And the more
Yeah.
information, the more longer you're with them, the more information you have about them and the more you're likely to change your mind.
But also more, I think the fear on the other side of that is like the longer you're with someone, the more you've built up. You've
more
got
invested
more
into the
invested,
relationship,
more
yeah.
to lose, more, more intertwined, more people to upset. friends to lose,
Right.
apartments to lose, all those things. You
Yeah.
know, like I
No, I get
understand.
it. It's stressful to like not be sure is more stressful than to know. Either
oh
way,
my God.
like not being sure in any case is like
I want to like go up to some people and go, how are you so fucking sure?
But I mean, to be so sure is almost like you have to. I don't want to say you have to be stupid, but like
no, I
there
think
is
you
an
do have
element-
to be stupid.
There is an element of like if you think hard enough about any choice that you make, you can poke holes in it.
Totally.
If you think long enough and hard enough, like if you don't think about it that much, yeah, like let's
Listen,
fucking do it.
Starting betches.
Yeah,
When
I wasn't sure.
Right. You go, and to think it would be what it became and what it is, you wouldn't imagine that. But I think that's a good example because it's like
Totally,
you
yeah.
started with like, we're starting a blog. Like that's pretty simple.
Right.
To me, that's let's go to Iceland. You know,
Let's see how
let's see how it goes.
Let's see how we work together. Yeah.
And then, you know what? We have an opportunity to write a book. You guys want to write a book? Let's write the
Let's
book.
try it.
Let's
Yeah,
try it.
yeah.
And then you go, if it doesn't work out, you know, we went to Cornell
Right.
and we got good degrees and we'll find something. And then it becomes, do you want to like start a website? You know, like I can understand those things. I think that's
and
like
even all of those things didn't go so perfectly. It wasn't like, oh, like we're killing it at every single step. Like
right.
there are just like a relationship times in those things where you're like, I don't know if this is right.
Right.
Like this thing failed. I don't know if
We
like
got to talk about it. We got to regroup. What are we
Right.
doing here?
Right.
Yeah, and that's a relationship. That's any relationship, but that is very relatable to this person. Like,
no, totally.
you know, I would say like, what are you planning to? What's the next venture?
Yeah.
I think that's maybe would help this person because like, what's the next couple venture?
Exactly. And if you're unsure, I don't think it means you need to leave immediately. But
It's got to be talked about.
yeah.
I've had that conversation. Hey, want to do this? Yeah. My stomach hurts thinking about it. How about we regroup and talk about what this is?
Right.
That's,
Well, I guess-
that's a conversation I've
Yeah.
front row seat for.
My stomach hurts thinking about it. But
I ate
also
some cheese.
But
I don't
also
know if it's
excited.
this conversation or the cheese.
But also excited.
Also,
Ish. I don't know.
let's do some awkward
That's
stuff.
tough. Yeah.
Awkward encounter. You can send in your awkward encounters. This one was fantastic.
Love this one. Send it in uup@betches.com, uup@betches.com. You want to read it?
Let's do it. I have an awkward dating experience that my friends and I still joke about 6 years later. I went on a Hinge date with a guy when I was 24 and just moved to Boston. He was 20 minutes late, about 20 pounds heavier than his photos on the app, and showed up to this medium nice establishment in a hoodie, joggers, and flip-flops. Sounds very Boston to me.
That's like, yeah, I think that's a little rude.
A little rude, but you know, it seems like they're piling on.
Fair.
It's like 20 pounds overweight.
Have you ever worn that to a date?
Hoodie and flip-flops? No.
First date? No.
No. I mean,
Also, just like the amount of effort
Funeral?
that women
Yes.
put into like date. That women put
Right.
into dates, it's like
well, listen.
couldn't put on a pair of jeans.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. 24 in Boston. I mean, this is kind of like
Fair.
to me. People
What's the
wear
place?
that to
Southie?
the prom. Yeah,
That's where
this
they
is
all
Southie.
live. Yeah.
Yeah, this guy. He's like, yo, the Celtics game on. He then proceeded to slug dirty martinis.
That doesn't really go with the jogger thing.
No,
You
this
should be having
guy.
beers or something.
Right.
Yeah.
He
Dirty
surprises.
martinis.
If this guy
in
were
sweatpants.
right, I would be like, what is this guy? What's up his sleeve?
Right.
Yeah, I'd be impressed.
Slugging dirty martinis.
Such a Boston way to describe that. This guy's slugging dirty mats.
I feel like I'm in the town.
And invite me back to his place at the end of the date. Despite everything I just described, 24-year-old me accepted the invite with a potential steamy makeout in mind.
All right.
Sometimes it's your fault.
Yeah.
I'm not blaming the victim,
she said
but
yes to going back.
at that point, you're back to even. Like, he has to think
Right.
fine of
He's
himself.
He's shown you who he is.
Right.
Yeah.
And you said yes to going back. So now we can't really pile on his attire. You just went home with
She's
slob.
painting a picture.
I agree. Okay, fine. As we walked into his apartment filled with Tom Brady memorabilia, now he sounds awesome.
Oh my God.
and multiple stacks of empty pizza boxes, I noticed 3 burning candles. I said something like, "Oh my God, you left the candles burning." And he proceeded to explain that he leaves candles burning all day, home or not. And this is a quote, so I'll read it in a Boston accent. Yankee Candle would... Yo...
Is he like in Family Guy?
Listen, kid, Yankee Candle would have more lawsuits if that wasn't a big issue. It's such a Boston response. You think Yankee Candle could stay in business if all these houses are burning down?
Was this you back in
Might have been
24
me.
in Boston?
Listen, buddy. We got into a full-fledged candle argument. Me basically scolding him for putting out other people in danger. And him telling me that's what renter's insurance is for.
This guy's really trying to get his money's worth on his rent.
Right,
renter's
$20
insurance,
a
right?
year.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, the renter's insurance.
I got it, right.
Right, pays for the funeral.
Oh my God.
I went into his bathroom to compose myself and call an Uber, only to see another candle burning directly under a hand towel hanging on the wall.
What is this woman? The fire department?
Right.
Not 4 inches from the regulations.
Right. Fucking Smokey the Bear. Cherry on top is when I walked out of the bathroom to leave, he was swiping on Hinge.
Okay.
That's to me.
I couldn't wait till she left.
No, that's
Yeah,
brutal.
right,
Yeah. That of all the issues, swiping on Hinge in front of you is like
I
probably
think that's the rudest thing he's done.
the candles thing. You go, I think you're crazy.
Yeah.
Like I think the way you deal with anxiety is very different than me.
I'm kind of like the way you deal with like cleaning and smells is really different. It seems like he's just trying, as a 24-year-old Boston guy in joggers, it seems like he's just like, this is just him being used to not have to clean the apartment and just use it to like mask any smells.
Right. I mean, I can't imagine. Again, another surprise from this guy. Joggers, hoodie, backwards hat, martinis,
Right.
and then just an array of 4 candles.
Of course, they're Yankee candles, though.
Of
They would
course,
be
the cheapest.
Yeah.
Yeah. This ain't. These
aren't
aren't
Diptyque.
Diptyque. Oh,
Sorry.
You beat me to it. I love a Diptyque reference. My friends and I call him Candle Boy.
Creative.
Yeah, and still see him around from time to time. Hope he and his precious candles are doing well. Love always. Burn, baby, burn. What do you think of this?
This is funny. Definitely
It's funny.
awkward. It's funny that like it ended with them just like kind of yelling at each other, and then I'm trying to think if I went back to someone's apartment and they had candles burning. I don't know if I'd be like so enraged.
Right. I guess I wouldn't think of like, you endangered the neighborhood. It's going to be the Great Fire of 95.
If they left candles burning in my apartment, I would be more annoyed. It's like, okay, like I think this is, it's like, oh, you're driving without your seatbelt on?
Right.
Like,
Right. To make it a moral issue is a stretch for me.
Right.
I also the smell of the apartment. I can't imagine this guy lived in
intense,
a mansion.
Yeah. Right.
He's got
With
4 candles burning.
Yeah. The bathroom one almost made the most sense. Like,
right. Are you a big candle person?
I like candles. I also have a thing where I sometimes like I'm a little forgetful, so I get very paranoid. Sometimes it's not worth it for me to light them because then once I leave, even if I've got blown them out, I'm still just like somehow paranoid that I've left them on.
I'm the same exact way. I will check a candle I haven't lit in 7 years.
Right.
You know, before I leave to go on like a weekend to go do shows. So like I've called my building super
To go look at them, yeah.
to go make sure I'm not. And I said to him, I go, I'm not sure. I don't even think I lit a candle this month. But can you go in there
Just
and
in
make
case.
sure
Yeah,
so I
it's a
have
little
peace of mind?
Yeah, because there's nothing worse than just one in the back of your head. Did I burn the apartment down?
Right.
Did I not burn the apartment down? I also have that fear. I've also with hair irons too. I'm like,
This is a very
turn the-
female
Right.
thing.
Did I turn the hair iron off? Again, I don't even know if I was like, I would, but I'm not sure if I did. It's like I've had people go in and check to see if I've turned the hair iron off.
I don't know if I've told this on this podcast before, but you know what I do for that? When like I have a burner on and when I leave the apartment,
What?
I literally go to the burner. Like even if I haven't used the oven
Every time you leave?
every time I leave, I check the burner and because I'm crazy person, and I go off, and I yell it out.
What, like you're in Harry Potter? Like magic?
While I'm touching it, I
Oh.
just go off because
'cause
I'll
it'll
remember
That's
the
smart.
scream.
That's smart.
That will be the thing
No,
that
because that's an especially big fear of mine now that I have a house.
Yes.
It's like, I don't want to burn it down. For some reason, that's my thing. They were my one thing that I'm very intense about. I just really don't want to burn down the house.
now you can, before you leave every time.
Yes. Off. I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Off.
Mike will love it.
Yes.
Off.
It's smart.
It's because it rings in your brain. That's
Yes.
like the whole thing.
Okay.
So
I love that.
would you still hook up with the guy who had the 4 candles burning when you came into the apartment?
I think
Take away everything else.
I would.
Yeah.
I would. The joggers would be annoying, but I'd get over that. The martinis, I'd be doing the same thing.
Right.
The candles it wouldn't bother me. I actually almost, again, like, I agree it's a fat fire hazard. It's like I might gently be like, maybe you should like, don't you get a little worried? Maybe we should do that. I could see where if he got like really defensive, I might leave.
It was like, what the fuck?
Right.
Of course I keep the
Yeah.
candles
If
on.
I was
Yeah.
like, oh, like, don't you worry about, like, don't you feel like maybe there's a fire hazard?
Yeah.
And he was like angry, then no.
I'd
But-
sue the fuck out of Yankee Candle.
Right.
Like, that's a weird response. from him.
Exactly. But if he was like, oh, like, yeah, you're right, but like, I don't know, I really love the way they smell and I haven't had any issues with it before, but
Right.
Maybe I'll look into that.
I long term, I don't
Candles
know.
are not, I like it. I mean, you talked about this. That's your
I used to do a-
sensual.
The what?
You said you always
I
light a
like-
candle. Yeah.
That's right.
I want to get one. Now that I have a house, I want to get one of those big ass nice candles, like the enormous ones.
Really?
Yeah.
Like the ones that have like 70 wicks?
Yeah. And it's like
Yeah.
the size of, I don't know, like a large crock pot.
Yeah, I know exactly. See those? Yeah, I like those.
Yeah.
It feels like talk about making your house haunted. That would really add to the look.
It's going to, I feel like that's what makes like an elegant, you know what I mean? Like when you walk into a house and it feels like it just smells really good.
I love when a house smells good. I hate when a
Same.
house smells like people live there.
That's,
Like, I don't like that. When you ever go into a house and you like smell their food,
you smell-
and you're
well,
like, ugh.
do you ever have friends like from high school or growing up where it's like you know what their house smells like?
Yeah,
Their
that
house has a
disgusts
sm-
me. That literally disgusts
What
me.
did your house smell like?
It was Glade.
Right.
Like,
I don't
Glade
I don't
plugins.
I don't feel like people's apartments have that same like smell, but it's weird because I remember from elementary school or even middle school or high school, just like there were like your friends' houses.
Right.
They had the smell, and if they left like a sweatshirt in your car and you smelled it, it smelled like their
Nothing
house.
disgusted me more than a sweatshirt, like old sweatshirt that you smelled their house.
Yeah.
That's like the most disgusting thing to me. Like I know exactly what you're talking about.
You should before you go back with any girl for the holidays.
Give me your sweatshirt. Yeah, gotta see what your house smells like. Let's do another email.
Revolting. Okay. Hi J&J. I'll keep it quick so Jared doesn't come for my throat. Okay.
I get this reputation.
That got intense.
Yeah.
But I'm a longtime listener, subscriber, and I wanted to say thank you for getting me through my 20s. Love you guys.
Well, thank you.
I'm looking for advice on what to do. I'm a huge Morgan Wallen?
Wallen?
Okay.
Whalen?
It's a country, right? Okay. I'm a huge Morgan Wallen fan.
Wasn't he canceled?
He was, but they
let it go.
Yeah.
Okay. They let that go.
This girl let it go.
Okay.
I'm a huge Morgan Wallen fan, and I bought pre-sale tickets to his current tour when they came out. A couple of my college friends were going to fly out and have a girls' weekend until he delayed his June show. The new date is next May, and we planned to just postpone girls' weekend until then. The problem is now my boyfriend, over 1 year at the moment, but definitely the one, has a friend's wedding that weekend and really wants me to go. I've never met the couple, and it's a destination wedding in Alabama. We live in New York City. Without being malicious, he's making me feel guilty about still wanting to go to the concert rather than his friend's wedding. By this point next year, we'll be living together and soon to be engaged. But I feel like girls' weekends are few and far between at this stage in life. What do you think I should do? P.S. He's been to multiple of my friends' weddings, and this would be the first of his. Thanks for your help. Cowboy boots or stilettos?
Interesting dilemma.
Mm-hmm.
There are things in here that I see just from my perspective.
Let's hear it.
I love that the PS, he's been to multiple of my friends' wedding, and this would be a first of his, is like a side note. Like that's kind of the biggest thing to me. Like
that she hasn't met any of his friends.
right, he's got a whole
Mm.
world, and now you're like kind of like establishing A and B groups.
Okay.
And you're 1 year in, and this is his chance to show you off to his friends, and it's going to be college or high school friends. It's people from his past who he wants to impress and look cool in front of. And you're like, I got a girls' weekend. Fuck off. And
Sure, that's exactly how the conversation went.
well, and then he's giving you shit about it. So I would be, and then she says he's something about without being malicious, he's making me feel guilty. So I would assume there's like some jabbing going on, making fun.
Right.
So I would want to question. I think they have to take the jokes out of it. I think that's a big part of this. Like,
Right.
and I think guys do that a lot. They ball bust to let you know what they're thinking
Instead of being vulnerable.
instead of the vulnerable. Exactly.
Yes.
I am Mr. Ball Bust. I touch balls all the time. And I'm just saying that this seems like he's ball busting to send a message. I don't know how much he cares about that message. It might just be that he has one on you and he thinks it's funny to give you shit and he really doesn't care. Or he is like, hey, I've gone to all these weddings. This is my turn to like, wear you as jewelry. When you're a wedding guest, you're the jewelry of the person.
Right.
And you're kind of like, you're going to this girl. And then she uses this excuse of, I feel like a girls' weekend are few and far between at this stage in life. No, everyone's doing weekends.
I don't know. I kind of thought she should go on the girls' weekend.
Really?
Yeah. I was
Okay.
like, if she's like, this guy is the one, we're gonna be married, we're gonna be living together, like our relationship is so solid, then to me, it's like you had these plans with your friends. It sounds like she already had this pre-existing plan. She doesn't know this couple. Like, there'll be other weddings. This isn't the only. It's not like she said I've declined every other wedding that he's been to. I'm kind of like, if the relationship is as solid as you're saying it is, and you already have this prior commitment, like, why would you break it to go to something else? Like, this came first. You committed to doing it, and like your friend, I think your friendships are just as important as your relationship.
I'm with you. I don't think that there's like an unimportance to the friendship, but she's spiking the ball before getting in the end zone.
Okay.
Like, we're solid. We're going to be engaged. Well, we'll see. Maybe
See
he
if you
meets
come to
someone
the
at this
or
wedding.
not. Yeah.
Maybe he meets one of the, his old friend from high school
mean,
shows up at the wedding.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, let me put the fear of God into you.
Go to the wedding so that
Yeah.
no one else grabs him.
This is the premise of every rom-com. I went to Alabama for my big New York City job, met the girl of my dreams. I'm going to move home. This is the whole premise. I just think like
No,
this.
you've scared me into telling her to go to the wedding.
No, go on your girls trip. Enjoy Morgan. Canceled. Fuck.
Well, I'm saying that maybe their relationship isn't as strong as she's claiming it is.
This is my point is like, we told the first person 8 months in, have experiences together. Let's see how you get through them. And these guys are a year in and it's like.
That's how your friends start to hate you, though. If you're like, oh, I've got to experience every single thing with this person to like figure out if I like them, so I can't hang out with you on the trip that we've been planning for years.
Right. Well, the trip wasn't the plan. It got switched to this weekend. I don't think it is by chance that this all happened. So like, it's not like she knowingly was like chose Morgan Whalen over the wedding, so I don't know. I just think I'm with you. I think you can do the girls trip and it's all A-okay. I would just kind of figure out what this non-malicious thing he's doing.
Right.
That's the thing I would zone in on. Hey, you keep giving me shit. Do you really care about this? And what do you really care about? Do you care that I've give me where this ball, but I don't mind the joke. Like the joke is funny. I get it. You got me. Mm-hmm. I think she needs to like have that conversation because the way it was written here.
Why is it so important for me to go to this wedding with you?
Right. Or why does this subject keep coming up? It's obviously on your mind.
Right.
You're giving me shit. So what was it?
Yeah.
Like, let me figure.
Is
can
there
we suss
something else
this out?
here? Yeah.
Yeah. Are you like really like? Are your friends gonna like give you shit? Are you gonna feel lonely? Maybe it's as small as like, I'll just be kind of bored at the wedding.
Right.
If it's that, then you go get over it. It'll be fine.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a different story than, well, you never met my friends.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that's an important conversation to have because like, if it is really important to him, and he's like stating that, and that's the other thing. Like sometimes people are hesitant to say that.
Right.
But if you want something, then you've got to do that. So like, I agree. If he's saying, I'd rather you be there because everyone else's girlfriend's going to be there. To me, that's not
a good enough
intriguing
excuse.
enough. If it's, I really want you to meet my friends. It's really important to me. I feel like you haven't met any. A lot of them don't live in New York. This is kind of like the only opportunity. Okay,
Changes
now
things.
let me think about it. Yeah.
Right. I think telling her go or don't go isn't even what this email's about.
Right.
You know, like it's more like.
Well, I'm saying the default should be to go unless he has an important reason why it would be meaningful to him.
Right. Well, let's say his important reason is that. Listen, you've never even met my side of the group.
Right.
Like I've gone to these weddings.
It would mean a lot to
It would
me.
mean a lot to. Right. He's not saying that now. So it's
Right.
like, why won't he say that? Maybe it doesn't mean a lot. I think there's a good chance that he's like, no, I don't give a fuck. I'm just fucking with you. Like I think there's.
I'm gonna hook up with someone else anyway.
Right. My high school
Yeah.
ex is gonna be
But
there.
I think this does lead to like the discussion of like friendships when you're dating, which
Right.
I do think it's important to maintain. And I think a lot of people become so infatuated with the person they're dating that they don't, like, everything else comes secondary. It doesn't seem like she's like that because she's trying to go to this concert. But I think you have to think about your friendships too. Like, oh, she's just, because I think that's something she can bring up to him. Like, oh, I don't want them to think that like I got a boyfriend and now I'm not doing any of the plans.
I will say this from the guy's perspective: male friendships get
Well, that's more socially
backseated.
acceptable.
Right. So like I agree with what you're saying, but like this is an example that is like an example that happens.
Right.
You know, like that we see a lot where it's like, you know, like my dad didn't have one friend. Like he had one friend.
Does he have a friend now?
Now he's Mr. Social Butterfly
right,
at fucking Boca, you know, the Boca fucking.
Right. No one's really thinking about preserving male friendships.
No.
Yeah.
Ever. So like maybe this is his one way of being like, you know, we're 8-0 on weddings.
Right.
I know your whole group. I know the names.
Yeah. I mean, if my boyfriend said like, I don't have any friends, I'd be like, all right, let's go to the wedding.
Right, you're going to Alabama. There's not like a lot of like, you know, direct
Yeah,
flights.
I get it. It's
I don't know.
destination. Yeah.
You know,
I don't have any.
They
If
can
someone
play-
tells me
they're-
they
they're-
don't have any friends, I could probably be convinced to do a lot of things.
right. I don't think he's going to say that, but you know, they're going to play Morgan Wallen at the wedding for sure in Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know. I agree with you. It's not like you could still go on this girls' trip and
Right.
things will be okay.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree with you. It should be a deeper conversation.
That's why we do this podcast.
Look at that. Just
We agree
agreeing
on
with each other
everything.
all the time.
That's the entertaining show. Let's play some games.
Let's do it.
Red flag deal breaker.
First one.
Let's do it. Your boyfriend says his ex's name in vulnerable moments. J&J. I have a dilemma. Recently,
this one.
my boyfriend came home from work to my place and hit the shower. Standard routine. I've noticed he often talks to himself in the bathroom, but never really thought anything of it. However, this time it is weird to not think anything of it.
Right? I would ask someone about that right after they came out of the shower.
Who are you talking to? However, this time I walked by the door and clearly heard female name. Give me those big titties.
Oh my god.
Oh, Lauren, give me those big titties.
What? She's just going like prepping dinner. What?
What? You call me? I stopped dead in my tracks and naturally moved closer to the door to listen for more.
That's exactly what I would do.
I then heard female name, I love you several times.
Wow.
That's a little bit more serious than big titties.
Yeah.
To make this interesting situation worse, I instantly recognized the name as an ex. Following the shower incident, a couple nights later, he was tossing and turning in his sleep and mentioned the ex's name again. SOS, Jared. I'm assuming he was rubbing
Guy's
one
in
out.
danger.
Right? This guy's fucked.
Yeah.
How about this, Jared? I'm assuming he was rubbing one out in the shower. What am I, the shower rub out czar.
You do say that anytime a man takes a long shower, that is what's happening.
Yeah, he's squirting. Is this normal? And to mention an ex, Joanna.
Forget it. You don't get any advice.
I called you Joanna. This person's got a name problem. Maybe that's where
Right.
they connect.
Maybe she can't hear.
Sure, the wrong
Maybe she needs to get her hearing checked.
Right.
Yeah.
Joanna. Well, this is Jordana. Jordana, how do I address this? I can't help but feel he might not be 100% in this relationship with me following this incident. He definitely isn't in his dreams. I trust him, but I'm worried I'm wasting my time. For reference, we've been dating for a year. I don't know too much about his ex other than they dated during COVID and they've cut ties completely. Red flag or deal breaker, your boyfriend mentions his ex in the shower and in his sleep. Sincerely, one concerned batch.
I'm concerned as well.
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned.
He's definitely got something hung up on that last relationship.
I think it is so ballsy to go to your girlfriend's apartment to shower after work and then be like loudly jerking off to your ex-girlfriend while saying her name
It's, well,
in the shower. Like, wait till you do that in your own shower.
right. I've also never heard of such a thing. I don't
Do guys-
say thing.
Do guys get off to like ex-girlfriends?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, you got the memory, you got the it's called the spank bank, you
Okay.
know?
I thought it was more like anonymous than that a lot of the time. Like it's like
no,
Instagram
it's-
models or
It's way
porn
more personal
stars.
than you guys want to know.
Oh,
But
that's hurtful.
But again, this is the reason amateur porn is like people want to put themselves, like this is a big,
Right.
this is
Well,
part of that,
well,
I think.
To go back to what you were just saying, I feel like the idea that it's to an ex makes it feel a lot more personal than we're led to believe. I think we're led to believe that sex is almost just like a physiological thing that they're just like almost instinctively doing. But to give it like an ex.
Well, it's weird to me to say the name out loud. Like that's something that's, I don't know. I don't listen in on my friends' masturbation habits.
Do you talk to your?
I've never talked
to the porn.
during
To the porn.
maybe do women do this? They'll say a name out loud, like to get in the. I can understand a woman doing this. I just have never done
Maybe
this.
more so than men.
I
but-
would think.
Yeah.
The idea of me being in the shower, being like, oh, like,
At your new girlfriend's apartment.
right. Oh. Oh.
Like, wouldn't you be a little worried?
I'd be like, is everything okay in there? Does he
like,
bring his phone in the shower? Like, that's a big part of this. Like, is he really doing this? Like, I don't know. To
Like
say
you're
the
having sex with your ex-girlfriend in your mind in my shower. Feels personal.
oh, Lisa. Oh, Lisa. Oh, those big old titties. Ah! Like,
Did you say you needed more shampoo?
Right. Are you calling for me?
And then the name in bed in like when you're sleeping doesn't bother me that much.
Different story.
But combined with the shower name,
Right.
I'm like, is there something a little when I would have, if I heard this,
Mm-hmm.
I would have asked him about it as soon as he got out of the shower.
Right.
I would have been like, hope the shower was good. How's the pressure? Hoping that's good in there.
Right. Who's Victoria?
I couldn't help it. Right. I couldn't help it over here. You loudly masturbating to your ex-girlfriend. And
Loudly masturbating is like crazy.
to your ex-girlfriend that you've mentioned, you had this like sort of traumatic breakup with.
Right.
What's up with that?
And then get ready.
What would you say? What would you say?
I'd be bumbling for
I'm your new
months.
girlfriend. I'm your new girlfriend. I said, Jared,
Well,
couldn't
this
help
is-
it over here.
Yeah.
I
What did
don't.
you hear?
I don't come in.
I farted in the shower. Is that it?
No,
No.
that was fine. I was walking by the. I couldn't help it over here. You saying, "Give me those big titties," and then, "I love you, Lauren." Like I know, I know that's your
Oh,
ex.
yeah.
How's-
That was I do this like role play thing in the shower. And I said, "Give me those biddies." And it's real biddies, my ex and I, we started a mitten knitting company and they were called biddies.
Okay, and you were just thinking about that?
Yeah, I was just thinking, give me those
Got
big
lost.
fat bitties. It's the dumb. I've never. It is very funny to think of like a man masturbating. Oh, Lauren, give me those fat titties. Like it's just a weird. I've never heard of such a thing.
And she said he's consistently making noises in there, like it's happened
Right.
before.
This is. I mean, he's talking to someone. She's like, I've never really thought about it.
Right.
I mean, I kind of want to. I'm wondering, do men loudly masturbate?
Write in if you're a man listening to this.
That
and
loudly.
your vocal masturbation in your current girlfriend's shower.
I mean, I've done like
Sure. Yeah.
guttural noises.
I feel like that's common.
Yeah, but the idea that
I don't know. Okay,
you gotta have a talk.
You
If I
you're
heard-
in your your girlfriend, your new girlfriend comes over to your place. You hear something in the shower. She's moaning and saying her ex's name.
Antonio, Antonio.
Then she comes out.
Hey,
Yeah. Do you say anything?
hey, what's going on? I heard you yell Antonio. Were you watching a movie in there? Cheering
And
for
it's
a
just
team?
No, it's just an ex of mine. I got lost in thought. Sorry,
So, anything you want to talk about? Yeah, I guess it'd be hard to like not think that I'm not pleasing them sexually. That's the hard part.
But I think if I were to think that, I think if you were gonna give advice to a woman, you
Right.
would say it wouldn't be about that.
I think it's more likely to connect with someone like on a relationship level.
Oh, so it is about that.
I think it is. I would be like something they were doing really connected sexually. I think you can connect sexually with someone that you don't want to date.
Fair, yeah.
I think you could connect someone that you want to date in a less exciting sexual way.
So you'd have an honest conversation about the sexual connection.
Yeah, I think that's
Especially
what
early it sounds like they're early-ish.
Right. What were you guys doing that was so hot that you had to like relive it in the shower?
Right.
Like I got to know that.
Yeah.
And what can is it something that's fixable, or did you guys just have this like energy? If they had like, if she's like, I don't know, it's just like the sexual energy I couldn't get rid of, I'd be like, we gotta end this. I can't sit here.
Right.
But if she was like, okay, embarrassing admission, he puts a finger in my ear, and for some
That's what
reason
does
that
it
makes
for
me shit my pants and come at the same time, I'd be like, all right,
We can try that.
let me get my Q-tips out.
Right.
Like I that's a different, if it's mechanical versus emotional, I think that's where.
That's fair. I think I would also say, like, I would appreciate if you didn't masturbate in my shower.
Yeah, or quiet down. Quiet down.
I mean, I don't know how often he comes over, but I'm kind of like, it seems like,
Sounds like he's
a
fucking impregnating the wall. It's crazy.
Did you have a hard day at work? Like,
Right.
Could you-
Kicks off his shoes. Oh, I'm going to take a shower. Oh! Bethany!
to me, I'm also just kind of like,
Crazy.
don't you know that it's a possibility that I would hear you? Like, wouldn't that be, it almost seems like a little disrespectful, just that you wouldn't think that, like, doing that
Right.
would be
Is he
a little,
trying to have a conversation? Like, is this his way of trying to like get you to ask him questions?
yeah.
Right. It's like so stupid
That's
that
what
it
I'm
must
saying.
not be stupid.
Like that would be like almost the most insulting part. Not that it happened. Like, again, I think people masturbate to their exes all the time, men and women. But it's kind of like, you're not even worried about me hearing you. That's almost the bigger red flag.
Right. Was it moaning or was it Francesca?
Give me those big titties.
Give me those big titties.
All right,
is
so
a full-on fucking sentence.
I guess it's a red flag depending on how he answers the question.
Yeah, I think it's a deal breaker. I think this person.
Yeah, it's not great.
Give me those big titties. Well, also, like, I don't know, maybe that's not how they talk to each other in bed.
Yeah, well, that's a conversation.
Right.
Again, I think the lack of self-control here is the bigger red flag.
Right. Like, let's have a little decorum.
Yeah. Have some take off your shoes when you come to my apartment
Right.
and don't.
And masturbate quietly. Lower your
It's
voice.
Emily Post 101.
Right. Let's
Okay.
do another.
Hi, J&J. All the feathers. Thank you for all you do. You make the hellscape of dating easier to laugh at every week. I, 34 female, have been dating my boyfriend, 36 male, for about 3 months. He's truly the best guy I've ever known, and I genuinely love him so much.
Whoa, moving quick.
But, no, despite the short-term time we've known each other,
Okay.
my dilemma is his relationship with his ex. They were together and married for 10 years, but split up about 2 years ago. However, she's still active in his family group chat. Gets all the pictures of his nephew, health updates about his dad, etc. All while I've never even spoken to his family, who, to be fair, all live out of state. To make matters even weirder, he still regularly talks to his ex-mother-in-law. Like, she calls while we're eating dinner, and he will stop to shoot the shit with her for 20 minutes. Oh, my God.
Hey, Elaine. How you been?
We've talked about it, and he's assured
How's the
me
casserole?
that there's nothing to worry about, but I feel insecure and threatened. Am I wrong to feel this way? Is this a red flag or a deal breaker? Any and all insight is appreciated. This is weird.
Let me make this person feel, yeah, it's fucking weird.
Yes.
It's bizarre. It's also bizarre, like, what if anything was wrong in this marriage?
That's what I'm saying. I appreciate people who are like friendly and don't speak about their ex, like with a lot of hate and anger.
Right.
But you should not like them that much. Otherwise, you shouldn't like them that
Right.
much. Otherwise, you should still be with them.
And I agree. And I also understand if someone's like, while I was single, I was lonely, and these are the people I confided in. I
Right.
guess, like, that's the only way I could see that, like, it's hard to, like, shed these things that you've built to be crutches
Yeah, or
for your life as a
Right.
newly single 10 years after 10 years married. I can understand, like, yeah, it's weird. I talked to my mother-in-law, but, like, she really helped me. You know, this was the only people I knew when we were married 10 years. I didn't have any friends. This guy has
Right.
no male friends.
But I think I have no friends can solve all. If he just told you he has no friends, then you can let it all go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think to me, this speaks of a lack of boundaries and a lack of maybe closure in the relationship. Like, it just doesn't
Right.
seem healthy to me.
Yeah,
It'd be one
I'm
thing if
not
they had
about
kids, maybe there was like more to talk about. But
it. Yeah,
I
no
asked-
kids is the
Right.
weirdest part, that they're this.
intertwined,
right.
Yeah, I'd
It's-
ask more questions about like how this ended.
And again, to kind of bring back the crutch part of this is like, did you even heal? Like,
Or are you still in it? Right?
are you still in it? Did you even feel what life was like without this person? Or did you feel it for half a second and then you're like, no, everyone come back. Let's just have everything be normal, except we're not married anymore.
Right.
You know,
Well, it also depends how long have they been divorced is another thing. Like, you kind of need a no contact zone. I wouldn't
Right.
want to. I personally wouldn't want to be with someone who was so enmeshed with their ex's life.
You know, the only way this would be okay for me, and
What?
honestly,
Mhm.
if I was dating someone where their husband that they got divorced from, like, came out of the closet.
Okay,
Like, in that
Fair.
scenario,
very clear reason.
right? I got
He'd
the
still be
reason.
close. He's just not
Right.
sexually attracted to them.
Right. It just, you know, they figured themselves out, and the family, I'm
Right.
still close to them, because
That's fair.
that's the only way
Yeah.
I could see this, like, being something I wouldn't be like, run away.
Right. There's a clear issue there that is not related to like any real wrongdoing. I mean, maybe, one could say, but like
Wrongdoing,
Or-
whatever, you know, there was something that, yeah,
Right.
yeah, I'm with you. I just,
the mismatch was like, is pretty cut and dry there.
right, right, because
Yeah.
there is an element of like, well, why not? You said this in the beginning. Why aren't you together still?
Right.
Oh, he's gay? Okay.
Fair. Makes
I
sense.
get it.
Yeah.
I get it. You got a relationship with
And
the
you're-
mom. They
right.
became like a second mom to you. I
That's
can
what I'm
understand
saying. I
that.
think you need more context on the ending of this relationship and what happened there. And it's not even that you'd feel threatened by the person. I just think it's kind of like, like you said, have you moved on?
Right. And it's also like, how do I move into these relationships? Like, am I going to be friends with your former mother-in-law?
Also, you're taking a call during dinner.
Right.
And it's your ex's mother-in-law. Like, do you have any sense of how that would make someone you're dating feel?
Right. Hey, Elaine. No, I'm not doing anything.
Right.
What happened
Now's
at
the
Mahjong?
perfect time. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't even answer a call from my immediate family during dinner.
Fuck no.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you're answering a call from your mother-in-law while you're with your new girlfriend.
No. Yeah, this is, there's a lack of respect. There's a point with like being unaware, like knowingly unaware.
Right.
Like you have to know that
It's no
this is
self-awareness,
weird. Yeah.
right? You've got to like not pretend. Like that's the weirdest part of all this, that he's pretending it's normal. One thing if he did all that and he was like, I know it's really weird.
Right.
I know this is going to sound crazy and you're going to think it's kind of disrespectful that I'm answering the call from my ex-mother-in-law, but XYZ.
Right. She's dying.
Yeah.
I got to pick this up. This is her
He
last
doesn't
call
care. Does he
ever.
not care what you think? Like if you really like someone, would you pick up a call from your ex's
No, I'd be
mom?
embarrassed that this is someone I'm keeping up with. Why are you talking to a 7-year-old woman?
Exactly. Get a life. Okay.
Last one. He goes to NYC and only eats at Applebee's. Hi, J&J. I had a red flag deal breaker. He goes to NYC and only eats at Applebee's. Backstory. My boyfriend went on a work trip to New York City while I was at a destination wedding in Mexico. The entire trip, he complained relentlessly to me while I was trying to enjoy my trip about how horrible New York was. But the only places he saw was his hotel room and Applebee's for dinner. Not just once, 2 nights in a row. It ended up being a deal breaker for me, and I broke up with him while he was on the trip.
Wow.
Wow, this
is
woman,
cutthroat.
good for her. That wasn't the only reason, but the bad attitude and taste really tipped me over the edge. To this day, my friends still refer to him as Applebee's. We got to get a more creative
Group
name.
of Candle Boy, Applebee's.
Right, come on. Diptyque is right there.
Yeah, my friends refer to him as the X. Wow.
Right, you couldn't have come up with like one of the appetizers at Applebee's?
Right.
Thanks, guys. Love the pot. Signed, at least go to Olive Garden. What do you think of this? I think I know what happened.
What do you think happened?
New York City, for whatever reason.
Sounds like he was in Times Square.
Absolutely, yes.
Right, yeah.
And it sounds like New York City gets politicized.
Mm-hmm.
Like we did it in the beginning a little bit, with suburban versus urban areas. Like you go, New York City, like to some people, they just want to hate New York City.
Right.
They come in here, it's hard.
Part
and
of
you're
their
like,
identity.
right.
Yeah.
This is an identity play. It's like, we get it all the time. How is it in New York? Is it safe there? And you're like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So like, and I do know what the fuck you're talking about because you're trying to get me to like, see?
You want me to validate your preconceived feeling. No one
Right.
ever goes into any of those conversations feeling like, oh, that's not the bad. Okay.
Right.
Good to know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. They and you can see it on their face. They're like,
Right.
just say yes to everything I
Right.
say. Yeah. So I think to me, it's a deal breaker because going into New York City and being like, it's horrible and complaining about it to me while also just not trying to like
Do anything cool. Yeah.
Right. Like at the very least, go on eater.com, search NYC Eater Top 10. You'll get 30 lists that show you in every area you're in, even Times Square,
Right.
and show you a place that would show you like a New York City meal at the very least.
Yeah.
It's the least amount of adventure. And to me, I don't like the tell you who I am versus be who I am. Like,
I
if your
agree.
opinions can never change,
I agree. The attitude thing is kind of like is the deal breaker. But if he was like, "Oh, it'd be funny," like, I actually really love Applebee's.
Right.
Weird thing about me, like, I love Applebee's.
Right.
You love their dip, whatever it is.
Totally.
Like-
and we were the hotel
Yeah.
was on top of an Applebee's.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like leaving. I was tired. Like, to me, two different
fine.
things.
I don't care.
Right.
But I agree. Like, the city fucking sucks. I just ate at the Applebee's, is the only good place around here.
Right.
Like a sort of, I agree. The negativity would be the issue.
This city sucks. Oh, what'd you do? Went to Applebee's. I'd be like, okay, your opinion doesn't fucking matter.
Right. I don't respect you.
Both can be true at the same time. You can go to Applebee's and be perfectly fine person to date in New York City. Like if someone was like, yeah, they came back and they were like, they only went to Applebee's. I'd be like, not the biggest deal in the world.
Yeah, I don't care. Especially if they don't care. You're not a food. They don't give a shit about food. They're like,
Right.
It was easy. It was convenient. Whatever.
Yeah, but don't tell me you hate a place
Yeah.
when you made zero effort to try and like it.
Agreed. Fair. All
We
right.
solved dating again, Jordana.
We
Joanna.
Maybe I'll change my name. That could be my suburban alter ego.
Ooh, Jordana turns into Joanna. I
It's
like
just
this.
easier to say. changing already.
I love it.
Yeah. We did it again.
We did it again. Everybody, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We had people that were like,
yeah, if you watch the video and you like it, we put out, great YouTube episodes twice a week.
and there's a real moving conversation going on YouTube. The comment section, alive.
Love it.
Yeah.
And the comment section on YouTube, positive.
Pretty positive,
Mostly.
pretty thoughtful mostly, except for a couple times we've had a few. No, I like a thoughtful comment.
Yeah.
Totally into.
Thoughtful, positive comment. Love it. We'll be back on Sunday.
Boom.
Bye. The You Up Podcast is produced by Jorge Morales-Pico, Sean Kilby, and Candice Maniga. Editing by Jorge Morales-Pico and Shannon Sassone. Social media by Candice Maniga. Guest booking by Ali Friedlander. Be sure to follow at u.up.podcast on Instagram and send us your emails to uup@betches.com.